want the act, not the ghost.
Whoa. Yes! And we're back. Season 5, episode 1, take 2. Granted, it is the second take of this episode after what happened last week. Yes, if you tuned in last Thursday, you will have seen the power cuts. But, you know, new radiator. That's what caused the issue. At least it's now. I've had a week of freezing my butt off in this office working, but radiator gone, all sorted. I'm nice and toasty. Came back today. I was hoping it was going to be back so I'd be nice and warm whilst doing the show. And yes, we're here. We're going to go through basically what we were supposed to go through last week, but unfortunately, I don't have Matt here. So last week, if you tuned in, I had Matt Prodanovic from Subradio Band, who are currently on tour in the UK. I believe they're playing in London this evening, if they've not already finished their set. So, yeah. But, you know, we're here and, you know, we've got lots of stuff to talk about. But what I want to do is actually go through what we went through last week with Matt. So we're not wasting that content because it was some great chat. And you'll actually see the and hear, if you're listening to the podcast, the actual bang when the electricity went off. That was fun. As someone said to me, it sounded like I was being shot at. So great. Anyway, we'll tune into that, but I just want to give you a little rundown about what's happening on today's show. So we'll have all the talking points. I got through to a certain part with Matt before, you know, the electric went off. So we're going to go through the rest of that as well. I'm going to go through the trivia question as well because I've remembered to do that this time around. I've got your questions and answers coming up as well. So if you've got any questions, hit them up in the chats. Just want to say hello to Richard, hello to Stu, hello to Isaiah. Great to see you all in the chat there. Thank you for tuning in. And, you know, what is new for this season? As you can see, we're now in the DCUK cave. You can see, if I'm just going to move some stuff out of it, we've got the DCUK Cat in the Hat jersey there. If you want one, you can buy it on DCUnited.com/DCUK store. Just like this new 2023 home jersey that I've designed. It's simple. It's subtle. I like it. It arrived today as well. We have the DCUK podcast official DC United jersey there as well. And we've also got the Dave Johnson jersey as well. It's fantastic. Scarf up on top. Standing desk so I can dance around, do all of this. You know, free movements. I'm in my converted garage. It's brilliant. I can be as loud as I want. I can be as quiet as I want. You know, I'm just talking gibberish. But, you know, like I said, we've got all that to come. This might be a lengthy episode, but, you know, those are the best. So we'll see. Let's get on with it. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to head into the interview that we did last week. I will apologize for the audio. My audio was pretty poor. I'm using some new software as well to broadcast the podcast to you. It looks and feels great. It works really well. It's similar to the previous software that I had been using. I can do things like this, bring up all the comments that come through. But this time I've got custom fonts as well. So this is actually using the DCUK font. And Stu, no, I'm not going to do a little twirl. I'm sorry, mate. So we've still got all of that. We've got the ticket that goes through at the top as well. So if you are watching it live, you'll see things like this going through the top about subscribe, like, and comment. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, please like the video. And if you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. So yeah, I'm a little bit hyper. I'm so happy to be back. So let's crack on. I'm just going to go straight into the video. So like I said, apologize about my audio. This software decided to choose the wrong microphone rather than this one. It chose my laptop, so I sound a bit distant and a little bit echoey. But, you know, here we go. Please enjoy the interview with Matt. It was great to have him on. So here we go.
outside of DC. I'm getting on a plane to come to the UK. In just a couple hours, I'm going to be landing in London.
As you see over here, we've got our first guest of the season, guitarist, vocalist, and co-founder of the band Sub Radio, known for parody hits such as Stacey's Dad, which is absolutely phenomenal, and I think, which is a belter, better than that, it's Matt Prodanovich. I hope I didn't ask you whether that was the right pronunciation, but I'm assuming it's right.
That was spot on. You know, that was a one try wonder right there. Normally it's Prodanovich. That was a.
It's a CH at the end.
Excited to be here.
It's going to be an H.
Yeah.
Hasn't it? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you on. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, I'm actually sitting in Dulles Airport right now, right outside of DC. I'm getting on a plane to come to the UK. In just a couple hours, I'm going to be landing in London, and then it's right to Manchester.
That's it, isn't it? It's and you want to tell us why you're coming to the UK as well?
Yeah, you know, I probably should. My band that I'm in, Sub Radio, we are performing live 4 times. We're playing once in Brighton on the 15th of February. We're playing again in London on the 16th of February, again in London on the 17th of February, and then finally in Manchester on the 19th of February. And if you'd like to go to any of those shows, 2 of them still have tickets available, but 2 of them are sold out. So you can stand outside and wave.
I'm sure you'd wave back as well, wouldn't you? If there's just people randomly.
I would, if I could see, you know, I'll do my best.
Yeah, but it's great that you've actually.
We'll sneak a couple more in.
Who cares about health and safety? No, we do care about health and safety. We care. Yeah, we need to care.
Very much.
It must be a great feeling to actually have sold out shows. Is this your first tour of the UK as well?
Yeah, we've actually have never played internationally until just recently. We did a trip to Mexico, which was amazing, and this is our first time playing in Europe. And I'll tell you, when we started this band in Stirling, and I was you know living near DC for my entire life, I could honestly tell you I didn't really think, you know, it's always a dream that you have, but I didn't really ever think that we'd ever play, you know, back-to-back sold-out shows in London before we even step in the country. So that was wild to me. And the other 2 shows are selling fast. So if you are listening to this podcast and you would like to come to the show, I would suggest you go to our website right now and grab tickets. So yeah, it's a dream come true. And it's nice to follow my music obsession, which is allowing me to go to the UK and also watch some football obsession as well. So I get both in one trip. It's great.
And I'm glad you said football as well. You kept it English. I know previously,
you know,
in the pre-show we were saying soccer, and you know, I do dabble in a bit of both. I do say soccer and I do say football, and I get the mix taken out of me because I say soccer, but you know, it is actually an English term after all. So.
That's what they say. I'm an interchanger. I'm also a British citizen as well, so I go in between saying football and soccer. So I think my dual citizenship allows me to flip on the words.
Well, I've got a question already in, and I'm just going to bring it up on screen. All right.
What games are you going to watch? Man United. I am not a Man United fan. I am a Man City fan, so I probably will not be going to Old Trafford. However, I am going to see Man City play Aston Villa on the 12th at the Etihad, so I'm pretty excited about that. There's going to be kind of a weird kind of feeling about that game because recent news has been a little weird about City, but I'm excited to see Haaland play, hopefully, and De Bruyne and a couple other of my favorite players. It's been about 4 years since I've seen City play, so I'm excited to go back and see them.
Now, here's a big question. How long have you been following Man City for? Is it since the old?
My first City game was in like 2006. I saw, and it's kind of a City game, but it was City United but it was a youth game.
Okay.
And I thought City was so badass because they won 1-0 and beat United, and I thought they were so good at the time. Little did I know that they were this the smaller team. I didn't really know about football in that way. This is pre Carlos Tevez, so this is the Claudio Reyna era. Another player who now is a bit controversial to bring up in recent days, but he was my favorite U.S. national team player at the time, so I was a big fan of him. Liked that he played for the team, so we would kind of like watch games when we could. It wasn't as easy to watch them back then, and now it's so much easier to see games now. So as soon as all of the games came to NBC Sports, I think that's when I really started watching a ton. Whenever it was probably like 2010 was about when it became easy to watch the games.
So that would have been, was that Thaxton Shinawatra who was the owner at the time, I think, when Sven was manager?
When Sven was manager. That was kind of like right when my right when I kind of I don't know, there's a time when like you stop watching just when like your parents watch, I feel like. And that was kind of like for me when that happened. Like my dad was always like a tangential City fan, but he mostly followed DC United. And I was sort of the same up until I got to college, and then I kind of followed both teams about the same. So, you know, if DC United, I said United, not so there's no confusion. If DC United is playing, I will watch them for sure. And if Man City is playing, I'll watch them for sure. And fortunately, they are on completely different schedules and almost never I never have conflicts about which one I can watch. Can't wait for the day that DC plays City. If that ever happens, that would be a dream come true. And also the biggest qualm ever of who to root for.
Yes. Well, I think it's the likelihood is probably going to be more and more likely because of that connection that Man City have with New York City FC. They could do a mini tour and they could visit because it's not that far away in the grand scheme of things. So
I would love that. I would love to see them at Audi Field, have De Bruyne swinging in some crosses, and seeing how we.
Yes, I mean, could you imagine if DC score against City and then the beer shower in the Chico stand would just be phenomenal?
I would love to see that. I would love to see DC score on City. I love Man City. I love watching them play, but I would love to see a DC goal against Man City. I hope we see that someday.
Definitely. I'm just going to throw up another couple of comments, just compliments for you guys, especially you and your band. So Corey just said, greatest band of all time. Simple as that. That's not bad.
You know, I can't argue. I have to agree. So thank you, Corey. You speak the truth.
And then my lovely wife has actually come on and commented as well. Bless her. And she loves you guys as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Felicity.
More comments coming in. I love this. This is awesome. So Adam said that the older sub radio songs have never really gained the traction that the new songs have. What do you think has changed between early sub radio and now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say people actually watching us, whereas when we put out our first album, we were kids and we're still, and maybe in our heads we're kids. But we didn't really know how to roll out songs, didn't really have a fan base. So I think live streaming and social media has kind of changed the landscape for us, whereas now older songs, which we put out a long time ago, are starting to actually get listened to. And I think for us, it's a little interesting because we want to go back and make those better because we weren't really paying the same attention as we are now to those songs.
And do you think it's because I noticed you guys do a lot of shorts you do it on TikTok, you do it on YouTube, that they seem to gain a lot of traction, so you get that visibility and things like that. So do you think that's probably where it's come from?
Absolutely. I think a lot of the TikTok short form videos, not just for us, but honestly, a lot of people, I think that has kind of been like what everyone's been moving towards lately. That and live streaming seems to be kind of a new way to grow since the pandemic kind of like accelerated that. I think people were probably moving that way anyway, but as soon as everyone was locked inside, they're like, hey, I need to kill 90 seconds at a time for the next 8 hours. So what can I do? Scroll on the phone. So.
Oh, right. But we probably should talk a bit about football. Maybe should we do that?
Let's talk some DC United.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, I came for obviously fans of the show and for myself as well, just to kind of go through a little bit about your background with DC United. So, firstly, why DC United? I mean, obviously, it's quite obvious because you're from DC, but again, from outside of the pond, we don't see a lot of Americans. Generally, soccer's not the main sport, but you seem to have obviously a massive love with the game. So, where did that come from, and then why did it materialize into DC United?
It's kind of an interesting thing that happened. My dad was born in the UK. I kind of have to go back a couple steps.
Yep.
He was born in the UK, came over when he was younger, and he played soccer his entire life. He played for Penn State when he was in college,
Nice.
and always had a huge love for the game. Now, there wasn't a professional game when he was playing, but he got really excited about a well-run professional league in the U.S., which up until the time that MLS was created, there just wasn't really a well-run football soccer league in the U.S. So when they announced that there was going to be a team in DC, he signed up immediately to be a season ticket holder. So he was one of the first 20 season ticket holders ever for DC United. He went to the team picnics that they did when they were first getting people on board to get the team started. He carried tables out. He met Kevin Payne. Actually, he's rest in peace now. Several times, and was very involved in the team, getting it set up, and the supporters from day one. So it's kind of a generational thing. When I was 3 or 4, he was taking me to all those little picnics and things like that. So as soon as RFK started hosting games, I was there for all of them. I started out as a little person, barely able to see over the heads of the people in front of me, and then my seat got better as I got older. And I started really enjoying the games, and I think my love of the game came from just being around it so much and kind of watching it with my dad. And that was kind of our thing for a long time, was just, watching football whenever it was on. And our team was DC. It was always DC, and they were a very, very, very good team. They won a lot. So it was really fun to go to the games. And the atmosphere in RFK was electric. You could just feel it. And it always was growing in the first years that the league was going on. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And I don't know, I've just continued following the team ever since, and they've kind of just been, that's my team. So it was kind of a I don't know if I had a lot of choice in the matter. It was always going to be a DC fan, I think, from day one. But I love them. I love them when they're good. I love them when they're bad. And I'll always be watching, regardless of what the score is. So it's been a couple of rough years recently, but I'm excited about the upcoming year. I think we made some good moves, and I'm excited to have Rooney back with the team.
Yeah, definitely. This is
long backstory, but that's it.
It's a great little story, and you're right. It's a lot of the traditions, especially with football fans, soccer fans, it's usually family orientated. You get told who you're going to support, and that's who you stick with. It's like me with Middlesbrough. My first ever game was to go to a Middlesbrough match against Oxford United back in 1992. Back in all those old days, where again it was an old stadium, wooden. It was a great time. And then that was it. I was a season ticket holder from 1995 to 2010, which is roughly around the time when I moved away. So yeah, loved those times. It was great. And then obviously DC United, as we talked about previously, before going live, about my little way into the club.
long-winded, but again, it was a nice little way, and then you just stick with it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And look what happens. You get jerseys with your podcast name on the back of it for some reason.
Amazing.
You start making things like that, which you can buy on DCUNitedKingdom.com/DCUK store. See how I did that?
Got to get the plug in.
You've got to get the plug in. But yeah, so we've got a few things to go through. I know you haven't got a huge amount of time, so I'll try and fit as much as I can in. But what we'll do is we are going to go into some news. So I need to find the little clip. So I'm just going to roll the news VT. Now, if that isn't a news theme, I don't know what is. That is proper
amazing.
News theme. Right, so there's quite a few things that has happened since the last show, which was back in late October, early November last year. We've had the off-season and things like that. So the big one is the MLS Apple deal, a 10-year deal that's worth billions of dollars and billions of pounds. We're finally able to get it. I've already subscribed to it. I mean, you can get the cheap deal if you run a free trial with Apple TV Plus. I don't think they thought that one through, but as long as you're still subscribed to it, you get the cheaper price. My free trial ends at some point this month, so I decided to sign up for £79 for the year, which is I think it's $79. I say it's literally a straight equation from US dollars to yeah. So you guys actually get the better deal out of it. So
yeah. Well, that's always the case with watching football, right? It's easier in the US than it is in the UK for anything, pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you, blackouts at Saturdays on 3 p.m. Thank you for that. But yeah, and to be fair though, it's been fairly simple for me to watch MLS games over the last few years, so I can't argue too much.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
Yeah. Especially when Wayne Rooney signed for us, the first full season we had in 2019, out of the 34 regular season games, 32 of them were broadcast on TV for DC United.
That's amazing. Well, and that's what having a player like Rooney brings to the club is that kind of visibility, which you can't replace that for DC. So he was a great transfer for many reasons. I think a lot of people were skeptical when he came in. Yeah. But he obviously showed his, he was worth his weight in gold for the time he was there, and great to have him back as a manager.
Yeah, definitely. That impact that he made when he first signed, take us from bottom of the Eastern Conference to playoffs on that amazing run was just insane. And every time we played Orlando as well, it was a magical fixture.
Him and Acosta well that play against the slide tackle to the cross up for Acosta's hat trick was legendary. I think that clip will be shared for the rest of history. Absolutely.
That was just something.
And else. Defensive effort too.
Oh yeah, I've never seen Rooney move so fast.
Neither did he, I bet. Yeah.
He probably got halfway through thinking, what am I doing? And he's knackered, he's getting stitched. But fair play to him. Fair play to him for that. But this deal is just MLS deal is fantastic. Right. So yeah, 79 quid.
Absolutely stoked.
Yeah. Or £99 for the year if you're not an Apple TV Plus subscriber, which to be fair, that's not bad either for every single game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we got it immediately. As soon as we could. And my dad will be there with me watching every single game. And we watch a lot of MLS generally. So even outside of DC United, we watch a lot of games. So it was a huge. That was great for us because it was just like, oh, great, you're gonna put them all in one area, and I don't have to go surfing the high seas potentially to go 5 games.
And it's not just that; it's the extra content as well, which I think has just been brilliant. Yes. So it just looks fantastic. I absolutely adore it. There's some of the clips that have come through on there. I think they've all got all the games from last year on it.
Leave it to Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a bunch of they have a bunch of archive stuff there too. My dad was watching like DC play the Metro Stars just the other day.
Yeah.
But it was the season when Jaime was playing for the Metro Stars and not DC, which is a weird sight.
Yeah, I'm glad we forgave him and allowed him to come back.
Yeah, well, when you play like he does, it's easy to forgive.
Definitely. But yeah, so that's that deal that you obviously you've signed up. I've signed up. Hopefully, many others have signed up. You get it free when you're a season ticket holder as well, which I thought was a nice little touch. And that was pretty good to be able to do that. I just think this is the kind of thing that the league needed as well in terms of getting the visibility, getting the publicity, and just helping grow the league in general. So hopefully many people around the world will sign up to it, because I know people who are in the DCUK community, we're not just in the UK, we're not just in the US, but we've got people who are in Belgium, we've got people who are in Turkey, Australia, and all over the globe, and everyone can watch it without actually having to go find a dodgy stream, which we shouldn't.
Right. It's I think it's great that the league can command that kind of price for just to have the games on Apple. And it's interesting now that MLS has done that. A lot of other leagues are moving towards the streaming only focus. I think the NBA is going towards that, and I would bet the NFL is going to be close behind as well.
Yeah.
I think MLB already did. I think baseball already
did. Baseball's was Apple's first foray into sports. So apparently that started off a little bit iffy, but it's actually grown quite
shaky.
well. So that's kind of the good test bed for us to be able to have a good success on the platform. So far, so good. It works nicely on my iPad. It works through on my Android phone as well, which is phenomenal. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Smooth sailing, hopefully, this season.
Yeah.
Better than Flow Sports, and that's all we ask.
Oh, Dan, why did you have to bring that name up? Why did you have to bring that name up? Okay. Let's move on, because we don't want to go on that.
Quickly from Flow Sports.
Yes. Let's have a little chat about the transfers, because obviously there's been quite a lot happen over the time, I want to say. So let me get the right one up. So we've got the transfers in. So we've brought in a few players there. So Hannah Jose, Derek Williams, Tyus Klitsch, Ruan, Tyler Miller, Pedro Santos, and Alex Bono. So what's that, 7 players there that we brought in? I think the key ones for me is Klitsch being a DP. He's Leeds United fans love him, and you've mentioned something about Leeds, which I won't repeat because that might not go down so well with some people. But great to see him. The fans love him. The fans, when I was going through social media when it was announced, every single one had a good thing to say. There was nothing bad about his move. So yeah, can't argue with that.
He's looked great off the bench. Anytime he had to come off and help Leeds in the Premier League, scored a couple of really nice goals. Like this most recent season. Obviously with Bielsa, he was a huge player. So I think that it is an absolute steal that they got him, and at the price that they got him. And playing, if he can combine with Taxi, he can really get the attack firing. And I really hope Benteke gets a good run out. I don't think that he didn't have much time last season, so I'm hoping we actually get to see him with a full firing offense, and also a lot of good support behind him too. I think Pedro Santos is also another proven MLS player, so excited to see him on the field as well.
Yeah, I think the live wire out of those is going to be Ruan. He's a bit unpredictable, which is good and potentially a little bit bad, especially on the defensive side. When I've spoken to a few Orlando fans, they love his attacking play, but his defensive could be improved. So we just need to be aware of that. But then that also kind of makes me worry about Nahar.
Yeah.
Because how is that going to work? Because they both play in the same position. Fairly some, Ruan's more direct, and Nahar's a bit more flair, and likes to go around people rather than just try to put the ball up and then run after them. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, whether Ruan's going to be the backup or Nahar's going to be the backup, or does Nahar go to centre back?
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe he pushes up the right wing. Who knows? They might.
Yeah.
I mean, at times, I mean, he was playing as like a false center back almost for DC. It was like very strange how he would just kind of like have these marauding runs forward, you know, put crosses into the box and create some really dangerous situations. I think the big striker gap is where we really suffered. He was such a good creator in the team, and not having that, like, you know, good solid striker for the team really hurt our potential to like actually finish a lot of chances that he created.
Well, Ola Kamara wasn't solid.
Well, I have mixed feelings on Ola Kamara. Ola Kamara is a very solid MLS goal scorer, and he did a great job for the team when he was called upon. But I don't think that he was the stable striker. I don't think that he's like the rely on guy to be putting in, you know, 20 goals consistently per season. And I think even that one season that he did have where was it 19 goals he scored that season?
Yeah, joint top scorer.
Joint top scorer, yeah. I think there were quite a lot of penalties in there too. And, you know, like I said, very solid player, great forward. And I really appreciated his time at DC. But I think, and I'm hoping, although I know Benteke's goal output hasn't been so great in the past 3-4 years, I'm hoping he can kind of return to his Aston Villa days in the next season.
Yeah, definitely. Just going to quickly run through the transfers out because there's quite a lot. So you got Brad Smith there, which I'm a little bit sad to see him go because we didn't really get to see that much out of him because he had that major injury early on. So yeah, a little bit sad, but you know, it is what it is. He's now at Houston and joined up with Ben Olsen.
Yeah. I kind of similar. He showed, I think, flashes of what he could have been, but he got injured so quick, and I think you know, they moved him on before we really saw anything.
Yeah. Then Tony Alfaro, not really surprised about him moving on. He didn't really get that much game time, so hopefully he gets the right club so he can play regular football.
Totally agree.
David Ochoa, huge loss on that one.
That was shocking.
Gutted.
I was really shocked that they didn't sign it. He was so solid when they brought him in, and I was like, finally, we have someone similar to Hamid who can bail us out, has really good reactions, makes pretty good decisions, and he's young too, which I also liked. He could have shored up the goalkeeping spot for 10 years if we, maybe if he didn't, you know, outgrow the team and move on to a bigger league. But that's a good thing too, because you know then we're promoting the brand and getting some money out of him. So very sad to see him go.
Definitely. Then we've got Juice Gundrich. Again, no real surprise there. He just wasn't really MLS level at all. He's joined, I did make a note on that, Switchbacks in USL Championship.
I hope he does well. Seemed like a super hard worker.
Yeah. You'd always get 100% out of him, but that 100% wasn't always at the right level. So
quite there.
Yeah. I think there's two players on here which I'm pretty happy to have seen go. First one being Rafa Romo, the midfield and goalkeeper.
Oh my gosh, I think I had the most heart attacks per second with him on the field, and I would bet his defense would say this.
Yeah, apparently there was Matt Doyle did an article. I think it was either yesterday or today where he's the worst player he's ever seen in MLS, and I'm like, yeah, I can agree with that one. I can definitely agree. Cost us half a goal every time we played.
Yeah, it was some insane stat about how he could not keep anything out, and just not terribly surprised to see him.
No. Kamani Smith, I'm a little bit sad to see him go because he's an Englishman. I think the only thing that really cost him his place was the fact that he was taking up an international slot. Quite valuable. So
yeah, he also started to have a little bit of form near the end of last season. He was starting to kick on, so it was. I don't think he quite did enough to justify that international spot because they are valuable.
Yeah. Then Sofiane Jafar, similar sort of scenario, takes up an international spot. I loved his game. He was such a solid player on the ball, had a great vision with a really good long ball as well. But again, took up an international spot. So you need to be at a decent level to be able to be worthy of that spot. So
always felt more of a rotation option, and you really don't want to be burning an international spot on that.
Yeah. Then Ola Kamara, which we've already spoken about. I loved him. I on the podcast I always did the Ola Kamara hype train because when he was on form, he was on fire.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the moment that the power cut. But again, I just want to say thank you to Matt for coming on and actually taking that time whilst he was at the airport, waiting for getting on board the flight to come over to the UK. So that was fantastic. But yeah, so I'm just going to carry on from where we left off there. And I just need to bring up the right list again. So I was talking about Ola Kamara and how, I'm not going to say the phrase again because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, when he was doing well, he was doing well. And when he didn't, he was very much a confidence player. So yeah, when he didn't have that confidence, you really saw it. And unfortunately, age, a little bit of an injury record as well, kind of just means the fee that he was commanding in the terms of his salary, just wasn't really worth it. Moving on from that, we're going to go down to, if I could do it the right way, we're going to go down to Bill Hamid. Really sad to see him go. Absolute legend of the club. But again, his age and his injury record, he couldn't put in a full season anymore. So hopefully whatever he does now, whether that's continuing his career in football, or whether he does something outside of it, whether he does more coaching, or whether he moves into punditry, which we've seen him do at the last World Cup with Fox Sports. I think it was Fox Sports, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, we've seen him do some more stuff. So he's keeping himself busy. He's obviously got a newborn as well. So, but hopefully he'll continue his career somewhere. Then we've got Chris Aduyatsem. A little bit surprised because he wasn't a big salary cap player. Good depth, had speed, but his defensive capabilities was a little bit lacking. So, a little bit surprised we didn't keep him. I would have thought that he would have been a shoo-in just for another season at least. But it is what it is. Granted, we have got Nahar who plays at right back. We have now got Ruan who plays at right back. So maybe he's been third in the pecking order. Maybe he didn't want to be that low, and he wanted to actually have a bit more game time. So we'll never know truly what happened there. Then we've got Adrian Perez. No surprise. I think we've seen him a handful of times playing. He's had massive injuries with his ankle. So, no surprise that he's no longer with the club. Then we've got Sami Khedira. I'm not surprised. I haven't really got much of a feeling on that one. He's gone. It is what it is. And then the Kempenator. Hands of glass. What else can he say? No surprise that he's gone. I think we all felt like he was one of the weak spots for last year. So, those are our outgoings. Moving on from transfers, so I'll just get rid of that from the screen. We then move on to the fact that it's Rooney's first full season in charge. We have seen a lot of progress throughout the offseason. We've seen things happen in the tournament at Coachella. We've seen little progressions being made. I'm really excited at the fact that we're getting a full season out of this. He's had a full preseason to get his philosophy through. Yes, we start to see it towards the end of last season, and we saw glimpses of that, especially with the likes of Ravel Morrison scoring some screamers. But the consistency wasn't quite there. So we are getting towards a better place. And I am just really, really excited to see what's going to happen. We have made, obviously, a numerous amount of changes in the actual playing squad. We've also made some changes in the backroom team as well. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Nice little question from Stu there. Biggest standout from the answer is 4 goalkeepers leaving, including Big Bill. So how do we feel about the goalkeeper situation this season? So yes, we obviously had, what was it, Romo, Ochoa, Kempin, and Bill leaving, but we've brought in Alex Bono and Tyler Miller. I feel like we're probably a little bit worse off, despite Romo and Kempin going, who were not exactly the biggest strength in the team. But David Ochoa was fantastic. He was brilliant. To be fair, I think he was like a young fit Bill. It would have been great to have kept him. I'm so gutted he's gone. Hopefully, Bono and Miller will just take us over until we find the next big goalkeeper. We've got Zamudio, who has come through the academy. Well, I think was the academy, and through the Loudon pathway. So hopefully he'll get some game time, and we'll see how he does. But we'll get there. We'll see what happens. But for me, I think it's probably still one of our weak points in the team, and we don't need to get more goalkeepers, but we need to increase the quality of the goalkeepers. I think is what I'm trying to say. Some highlights from preseason. Cameron just saying that wish that the preseason had more coverage. Absolutely, but it's preseason. They generally don't have a huge amount of coverage happening. So unless you're there, we don't see a huge amount of preseason games over here in the UK. I don't see Middlesbrough playing in their preseason matches. I'd have to go to the Riverside to go and see that if I was that desperate. So no surprise that there's not much coverage on those, but yeah, it is what it is. Unless you're playing in like one of these international champions tournaments when you've got the likes of Tottenham and Arsenal and Manchester United and Real Madrid, PSG, and all those playing in it. Yeah, we're not going to get the coverage really, are we? So yeah, some great performances though from the notes that we're seeing, and obviously some of the comments that we've seen. Ted was laying on the assists, getting a couple of goals. Fantastic to see that. Benteke getting on the score sheet as well. He needs that confidence to really try and get back to his goal scoring capabilities that he had at Aston Villa. Because as Stu rightly said earlier on, Villa Benteke was a different pedigree. If he recovers that goal scoring form for DC, it would be league leading. And if he does, yeah, he's going to be right up there. If not leading, he's going to be in the mix. So yeah, fantastic. It would be great. I mean, if he got 15, 20 goals, I'll be happy with that. Obviously, I'd want more, but when we've got Taxi, Hopkins, Fletcher, we've got the young kids coming through, it will be great. If we can get all those cylinders firing at the same time, or at least spread nicely throughout the season. I know I'm just seeing some other comments about the coverage. Yeah, not much coverage, but Richard thinks that this is going to be the last year of it. I hope so. It'd be nice to see it. I don't know what we will get out of it, though, especially if the preseason style games are how they have been over the recent years, especially when we're playing, San Jose, 2 matches back-to-back, 90 minutes. So we had 2 different teams. I'm not sure what we would gain out of it. I would like to see highlight packages at the very least, or more of those, because we see some of it, but we don't really get like a proper highlights reel out of it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this Apple deal moves it forward as well. especially during the quieter times when you have the international windows and things like that. It's what kind of coverage are they going to bring to the table? Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that happens. Stu's just saying, does Rooney's name get us extra interest for international coverage despite league performance? Yes, he does. Always. I mean, granted, when you look at the back end of the 2018 season, so Rooney joined us, 1st of July 2018, as we had him for the entirety of the rest of the season. We suddenly, even though we were bottom of the Eastern, Rooney was here, and we suddenly got all the TV coverage, and it was so easy to watch DC United games off here. It's great. Loved it. Then 2019, I think I've mentioned it before, and I think might have mentioned it in the interview. We had, actually, I think it was off air with Matt. 32 out of the 34 games, regular season games, were broadcast in the UK in 2019 for DC United. Whether that was through Sky Sports or whether that was through Free Sports or Premier Sports, there was so many games, and it was so great to be able to actually tune in to all of those without actually having to find that dodgy stream. So that was great. But yeah, I think we will get that extra coverage. I mean, granted, the MLS deal, Apple deal, will allow us just to have all the games anyway, but the actual highlighted games as well, I think that will help us. The fact that we do have Wayne Rooney in there. Maybe it's not as much as he used to, but it will be a little bit of a bump, shall we say. Other bits of news, Loudoun United are now in the US Open Cup after they split with their DC United group. So now they're under new ownership. And I did see earlier on today that they now have their first US Open Cup fixture announced. And I'm just going to try and find it. So they will be playing North Carolina FC in the first round of the US Open Cup. The second round proper of the 2023 Lamar US Open Cup. Time and date of the match will be announced at a later date. So that's their first ever US Open Cup game. Great. Love it. Not sure how it's going to work with the way the players go quite freely between the clubs now that it's under different ownership. Be interesting to see how that works out. And whether that's helps the media be a part of the DC United squad. Yeah, interesting. And Richard just saying, what do you think the relationship between DC and Loudoun United will be? Well, I think it means that we no longer get the that guitar theme for Loudoun County adverts on the streams. Hallelujah. That was so annoying. But I think the relationship will slowly peter out. I don't think Loudoun United has been quite the success they were hoping. Yes, there's been quite a few players that have come through the ranks. I know, obviously, Griffin Yao scored Loudoun United's first ever goal. Zamudio's come through, TKD, Fletcher. So there's been quite a few good players that have come through, and we have seen a few benefits from that. But I don't think it has been quite as good as they were hoping. You see their league performance, not particularly great. Segra Field, not the nicest of stadiums. Obviously, there's a lot of issues in the early days. Yeah, I think that will just slowly peter out. There will still be like a little thing there, but I think the relationship will slowly drift apart. Like a friend that you haven't seen for many, many years. You've got back together, and it will be great. But you'll just go on your own separate ways. I'm just seeing Cameron. How did you pick DC to support? Interesting question. You can find more on DCUnited.com. But in brief, in a very short, because it is quite a long backstory. But the team I support over here in Middlesbrough, we had Jaime Moreno before he joined DC United. We sold him to DC United back when I was about 8 years old. And I always remember my thoughts back in those days were, Americans play football. Great. And that was it. I didn't really care about the 1994 World Cup because England obviously weren't in it. So that just passed me by. Plus, I was only 6. So, I really wasn't paying too much attention. But obviously, I knew about them, and there was obviously just something there in the back of my mind. So when Freddie Adu came along, and we have the wonderful football management simulator, Football Manager, that allowed me to then start using Freddie Adu. I started using DC United. So I used to play as DC United manager, which hopefully I will be doing a save with DC United, and I might do some streaming of me playing Football Manager as DC United, see how we get on in the 2023 season once the winter transfer update has been released. So keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, Freddie Adu came along. I started playing as DC United. I started watching clips online of DC United and went through all the stuff there and just kept up to date with them throughout then. And then eventually when coverage started happening better over here, I was able to actually watch the games more and more. The bonds grew, and yeah, you just, as a football fan, when you pick a team, you stick with the team. So my first ever football jersey was Glasgow Rangers. Obviously, I still follow them. Middlesbrough was the first ever football match I went to when I was 4 years old. So you stick with that. And the long-winded way of following DC United. And yeah, I can happily say I've followed them for quite a number of years now. And yeah, I would say I'm a proper true fan of DC United. So yeah, in essence, that's how I follow DC United, Cameron. There you go. So moving on, Leagues Cup, new format for 2023 season. You've got the group stages. Every team is in it. Some teams are automatically qualified for the further round, but we are in a group with Montreal. So Hernan Losada, the return of that. How is that going to go down? Whether he's still manager at that time, we'll see. Because Montreal haven't had a particularly great offseason. So yeah, be interesting to see how that goes. Then we're in with Pumas, who generally, I mean, I like their badge. I like their logo. They usually have some decent kits as well. So I'm interested to see how this goes. Obviously, Leagues Cup has had a bit of a rocky start, shall we say. COVID didn't help, but I'm interested. I'm intrigued to see how this tournament goes. It's going to be great that we're going to be able to watch it on the MLS Season Pass as well. Yeah, I'm quite happy about it. A little bit different. I'm eager for it. And then the Cherry Blossom jersey, which if you're at the stadium for the grand opening, which I think it's being revealed very, very shortly. Do you know when the Cherry Blossom kit's release? Well, it's been announced in about 37 minutes. So, and apparently the kits are at the stadium. So it's a season ticket member event, but hopefully anyone who isn't a season ticket member will still be able to buy one. I would like to buy one. From the images, it looks great. And I'm just going to flash them up on screen. I don't know why, because by the time this goes, you probably watch it. If you're not watching it live, you're going to have seen the actual shirt, but here we go. Footy Headlines did leak it out earlier. I've seen some photos which look pretty accurate to this. I like it. I'm not in love with it. A bit like how I was with the Marvel jersey. I liked it at the start. Then when I got it in person, it started to grow on me. And I think the Marvel jersey is actually a really, really good kit. I like the blue around the collar. I like the tones of the colors that they used. I thought it was a really nice shirt. Better than the previous away shirt, which was just a plain white tee. But anything was going to be better than that. But that kind of leads me on to, I want to do a little bit of a kit review from all the kits that I've gone around. Because I know that was a question that came up when I asked for some questions over on Instagram. From who asked me that one, 7 Victor G. yes, what my thoughts on the kits. So what I'm going to do is, thankfully, 90-minute US on Twitter, I've put together a few tweets which have got the kits on there. So I'm just going to go through those quickly and give you my thoughts on those shirts. So you should be able to see this now. Brian, not as nice as mine, but still love it. Yeah. I mean, mine's a classic, I think. But yes, you should be able to see my screen. You should be able to see the Austin FC barcode, as I'm going to like to call it. Hit the chat up if you can't see it. But yeah, you're right, Cameron. I'll try to be a bit more creative, and I think they've listened to the fans for once and gone, we need to do something clever. And it looks like they have. So whilst this is a love-hate kit, I think it's different. It's a barcode. You could probably scan it at your shop and get some money off the shirt, because that's what you should be getting. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I like the green, I like the black, I like the two colors together, but I'm not sure this quite works all too well. So I'm going to give this probably a 6 out of 10. Then we move on to Atlanta United. What can you say? It looks like every other shirt that they've had so far, apart from maybe the stripes are a different width, maybe. Yeah, 4 out of 10. It's not exciting. It's not really anything different. Yeah, not really too impressed by that one. Then we got the New York Red Bulls vomit jersey. Or would you call it moldy cheese? I'd like to know your thoughts on this one. Is it vomit or is it moldy cheese? You decide. But yeah, this is disgusting. Absolutely. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a DC United fan and we hate the Red Bulls, but that is actually horrible. Don't know what they were thinking. And I think that's their home shirt for the season as well. So yeah, 1 out of 10. Then we've got the Seattle Sounders shirt, which I think they're trying to be, they've gone for a Belgian color scheme, which is quite nice. I quite like that. The black, the yellow, and the red. I think that's pretty good. I'm not sure on the actual pattern though. I think it's another love-hate thing. But yeah, it's an interesting one, that one to look at. I like the interesting factor. I like the fact that it's a little bit different. So I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10 on this one. Then we move on to the Portland Timbers, the Tartan Timbers. I love this one. I think it's great. It's very British. Let's put it that way. I'm going to give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think. Yeah, it's just Tartan Timbers. I think that's got to be their nickname for this year. We then have the Houston Dynamo. Again, I'm not too sure about this one. I like the fact that it's a little bit. Again, they've gone for the shape of the crest and pattern that so it's a honeycomb effect, and then they've gone with a little bit of a square pattern inside of the honeycomb. So it's got a little bit of depth to it. Again, I don't mind the color scheme. I don't mind the orange and black, but again, I think this could have been a lot more exciting. So I could give it 5 out of 10. Then we have the Philly Union shirt, which I like the badge. The fact they've gone for just a snake. I think that's great. But where is it? I'm gonna have to see if I can find the tweet. So bear with me 2 seconds, because there was a tweet that was sent out, which was fantastic. So here it is. I'm just going to pop this on this screen right here. It's the Simpson shirt, which is brilliant. I love that. So we have the Simpson shirt right there. Again, I'm probably going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's a bit middle of the ground, not particularly brilliant. Again, a little bit moldy cheese as well. Then we have the Colorado Rapids, which apparently they made a big song and dance about this kit, how it's going to be great. It's all right. I like the colors, but that's about it. The design of it stems from the badge itself, so it comes out. Not sure it really signifies rapids or mountains or anything like that. So I'm unsure on this one. So probably 5.5, 6 out of 10. We then have the New England Revolution. They've gone for the River Plates style. I like it. Can't argue with it. 6 out of 10. New York City FC. Yeah. Not sure about this one. It's a bit different, but I don't like the fact that it's just the logo embossed on the shirt. I think they could have done a lot more with that. They've done a lot more. They had a great shirt last year, I think it was, or it might have been the year before. But I think they've lost it on this one. So 4.5 out of 10. Then we have the Columbus Crew, which, again, I'm not so sold on this one. I'm not sure about the design. It looks like they've gone on to Photoshop and put some motion blur on it. I think that's how best I could describe this one. 4 out of 10. FC Cincinnati, I quite like this one. It surprised me, actually. It looks like they've thrown some paint across the shirt. And they've got, let's go for it. That's done. They've kept the dark sleeves, which I like the contrast between the main part of the shirt and that. They've got the nice orange tone to it as well, which is obviously reflective of their badge. Yeah, I like it. I would happily give this a 7.5 out of 10. Then we've got the Charlotte FC kit. Really like this one. I like it a lot. Looks great. I love the color scheme. I love the purple and the light blue to it. I like the little crowns throughout the little shirt. I need to go out. It's more just of the logo embossed in the shirt, but it works. And they've got I think that's a little bit of a pink tone to it as well through sort of down the sides of the shirt. Yeah, it's a well designed shirt, this one. So again, 7.5, possibly 8. But we're still waiting for the official reveal of the DC United shirt. We've seen also Chicago Fire. I've released their shirt as well, which is, I haven't got it up on screen, but that is amazing. I absolutely love that one. So if you do get the opportunity to go and check that one out, please do. It is awesome. But the best one will be the Cherry Blossom jersey. It's been too long. So long waiting in the wings. It's going to be great. I'm super excited about that one. And I will probably end up spending far too much money on getting one imported. But don't tell my wife that one. Stu, what he loves about MLS jerseys is that they have a lot more personality than most European teams. Love or hate their designs, they have pizzazz. Now, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Over the years, yes, they've had a lot of pizzazz, but over recent seasons, they have just been cookie cutter. Every team's had a very similar design, just slightly different color scheme, which reflects the club. But it's nice that this year there's been a lot more design reflective of the team. Feels like they've had the shackles loosened for them, and they can go, you can do what you want. And that's great. So I'm happy about that. Whether that's because we've got the MLS Apple deal and they need to have some really good shirts on show to promote the deal and things, where that's gone hand in hand. If it has, I'm for it. Happy. Means we get better shirts. Cool. So that was my mini kit review. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the official cherry blossom would be like. And I would love to know whether the name and the number on the back is going to be in the pink or whether it's going to be in black. It'd be great if it's in pink in cherry blossom. That would be, yes, chef's kiss. Anyway, I'm going to move on to some preseason thoughts. So, what are my hopes for the year? Who are going to be potentially my key players for this season? And what I think we might need going forward. So, I wrote some notes down before last week's show because I was going to obviously go through it last week, but power cuts. But yeah, I mean, for me this year, I do have that little bit of optimism, like I do every season. You're going to have that new season optimism, otherwise you're just onto a loss already, and there's no need for that. You need to think fresh start. We've got Wayne Rooney in his first full season. He's had a full off season to prepare for the team, prepares his oversight for his playing squad rather than inheriting what he had and just trying to plug some holes in as he could. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. We have obviously seen all these changes. So we had the 7 players coming in, the 13 players going out. That was meant to be my trivia time question, but I forgot to mention that at the start of the show. So there you go. So a lot of change. I mean, generally speaking, in MLS, you see a lot of change anyway year on year because of things like the draft and everything to go with that. But yeah, 7 players in, 13 out. Good to see. Some of the deadwood obviously being removed finally. So good on Rooney for getting that through, and obviously good on the back office team to getting that sorted out as well. So well done, Sean. Whoever our GM is. Actually, we've not even had a new GM yet. I just realised we haven't got a GM. Or have I missed something? Or is Dave Casper running the show? Which, yeah. Anyway, things that I'm looking forward to see now Klitsch comes into the team and how he handles himself in MLS, because he's got a bit of a reputation built up from his time in England with Leeds United, scoring from 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards or more. Look out for an episode that I have been interviewed for with a chap whose channel name is Discovering MLS. Go and check him out on YouTube. We had a good chat. He's a chap from here in the UK. He's recently discovered MLS, and he's documenting his jerseys. Sorry, I've just seen the word jerseys come up in the comments. Documenting his journey on MLS as a whole. And he's an artist. He does some great designs. Please do go and check him out because it is fantastic. And I enjoyed spending some time chatting with him as well. But yeah, and we were talking about Click and his time at Leeds because he was a Leeds United fan, and not a single person has a bad word to say about him, which is great. That shows how well received he was, how good of a personality he was, both on and off the pitch as well. So he's going to really warm to us. I think we'll warm to him, and really excited to see how he takes to the big travels of MLS. Because they didn't really get into Europe, and he would have been going up and down the M1 quite a lot. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm intrigued to see how many minutes TKD gets after his preseason heroics that he's been given us. I know Rooney's a big fan of giving the youngsters plenty of game time. Obviously, we saw Akamboni playing towards the end of the last season, even though he's only 15 years old. TKD, Hopkins, Fletcher getting some game time towards the end of the season as well. I'm very excited to see how they bed in as well with the team and see how they fit in. And hopefully they'll see a lot of minutes out of the youngsters. I'm really excited for TKD, Hopkins and Fletcher. I think those 3 are going to be key to us, especially from the depth perspective as well. In terms of our transfers coming in, seeing the likes of Derek Williams and Ruan coming in to provide that little bit of extra depth. Derek Williams is a good player. Coming in from previously, he was at Blackburn Rovers and in the Championship over here in England. Never saw anything bad about him. Didn't see anything great about him, but I didn't see anything bad, which is always a good thing. Then he moved to MLS with LA Galaxy, which is where we've picked him up from. So very good. So yeah, I'm happy that we've got that extra depth. I just wish we had that extra quality in the goalkeeping department. I think that might come to bite us in the bottom a little bit, because seeing the fact that we had Bono and Billa coming in for seeing Ochoa leave and Bill Hamid leave, they're not really for replacements. I just wish we had something a little bit more tangible. Bono's not really a bad goalkeeper. He's had some good performances for Toronto over the years, but yeah, he's just not quite the same level really. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he gets on. Click could make a big impact on the pitch. Excited to see how he adjusts MLS and the travel involved, but also how his experience in the Premier League can help the younger players, and that's a huge, huge win. So, and I think it's just experience in the Premier League, the Championship as well, because of how rough that league is as well. So it's a lot more physical than the Premier League in terms of upper body strength and target forwards and things like that. The classic 4-4-2, as you all know, that I absolutely love that formation. But granted, Click played in a Bielsa team, which was high press, and basically Lozada modeled his philosophy on Bielsa. So he'll have a lot of energy. He should be able to last the full 90 minutes without having any issues. So yeah, it'd be good to see how he adapts to the league. So yeah, so key players for me for 2023 is going to be Click. Chris Durkin, I think, is going to be an important player in whether it's on the right of midfield or whether it's in the center of the park, as long as he gets the game time, because obviously we've got Knaus, we've got Paulson as well. And then potentially Naham will move to right midfield if Ruan's playing at right back. So there's a lot of competition there. But we saw how great Durkin was towards the end of last season when he shifted out to right midfield. I think he was our top assists when he moved there. It's great. I think he handled it really well. Didn't really put too many feet wrong when he's in that role. I'm excited for that. It'd be great to see. So yeah, I'm excited for the season. I think we'll get. You've got to have the playoff hopes. When you see how the playoff format's going to potentially be, if you don't make it like we did last season, if we don't make it 2 seasons in a row, that's going to be actually no, it'll be 3 seasons now, won't it? If we didn't make it this year, yeah, that will be painful. I can't even think like that, because that would depress me too much. So yeah, I think the fact that we've made so many changes, not many incoming. Well, we obviously had 7 incomings, but it's not like your Fulhams or your Nottingham Forests where they made 25 signings in a season. Don't know why they did that. And they struggled to gel together. It'll be interesting to see how we do. Things look okay at the moment, and we should be on for a decent season. My aim, my hopes and aspirations for the club will be making it past the first round of the playoffs. If we can do that, it'll be a much better season than we've had recently in the recent years. We all want, obviously, to get through to MLS Cup, but let's just take it one step at a time. Do what's right in front of us, not look too far ahead in the future, and not set ourselves up for failing. That would be my philosophy for the year. Whether you agree with that, whether you don't, we all have our opinions on what we think should happen. But I think we could all probably agree we want the best, and we would love to have an MLS Cup, right? Cool. So I will move on to fan questions very soon, but I just want to give you guys an update on what will be new for 2023 from a DCUK point of view. So, as you can already see, we have the DCU. We're in the DCU cave. There will be extra things going up on the walls. I'm probably gonna. Well, we'll see curtains coming up here. I will potentially get a screen mounted over here, which will have different graphics on. I've got a sofa down there, so you might end up seeing occasionally, rather than being stood up here, I might be sat down on the sofa and we'll do an episode down there. That'll be interesting. Just different points of view. Gonna hopefully do some watch alongs. So when the games are happening, I want to do like play-by-play stuff. Because I know we're not having Dave Johnson anymore, which is very, very sad to see, but I'm so happy I've got that jersey. So whether it's goes down the style of the play-by-play, but I want to just have that interaction with you guys, especially for the away games. We just want everyone to get together. We chat about the game. We all interact with each other. That's what I want to do. So hopefully you'll see that happen on top of the podcasts. As I mentioned earlier, I want to do potentially some streaming of me playing as DC United and seeing how I do compared to how we do in real life through Football Manager. So hopefully keep your eyes out for that. Interviews, I want to be doing some more interviews, especially with players and DCU staff as well. But what we're going to do is there won't be on a live stream as such, so there will be pre-recorded interviews. They will be released to DCUK members before they go out on the show. So this is your opportunity to come and join us at DCUK. You just need to go to dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. It is free to join, but there are two sort of tiers of pays with different ways you can pay. So you can either pay it by month, which will be £5 a month. It's not massively expensive. In this day and age, it's probably the price of a cup of coffee from Starbucks now, the way inflation's going. Or you can do a yearly membership, which will get you an exclusive shirt as well, which will have a name and a number on the back of it, which will be dedicated to you. And it will be a DC UK shirt. So if you go for the year, you get that. If you go for the month, you don't get that, but you are helping everything happen behind the scenes as well. So please do. But you'll also get now interviews before they go live. So there you go. I just need the club to start giving me some more interviews coming forward. Otherwise, the next episode is the 100th episode. So keep your eyes out. We'll be looking to do a giveaway. The details will be released later on. I mean, it's our 100th episode. It's a time to celebrate. Who'd have thought 100 episodes? When I started doing this back in 2019, I never thought I would have actually got to the 5th season. I genuinely thought I would have not even finished the first season. So the fact that I'm still here doing this and you guys are out there listening or watching, it's fantastic. I absolutely adore it. I love the fact that I can communicate with you guys. I can chat with you guys. The community we're building is phenomenal. So thank you for that. 100 episodes is insane. I have enjoyed every minute of it. We've had our ups and downs throughout the history, throughout the club. We've had some great episodes. We've had some okay episodes. But 100 is just insane. So once we get to the 100th episode next week, we'll celebrate for the next 100. So, yeah, I mean, Stu's just, I'm going to bring this up on screen. So thank you, Stu. That really means a lot. You'd love to see return to interviews with club players and staff, some great ones in previous seasons. The Bruce thing is an inside joke between me and Stu. We used to work for the same company. There was a little thing that happened back in those days. If you want to know more, come speak to us privately about that one. But yeah, it's insane. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's been a part of the DCK podcast and the community. It's just insane. Brilliant. Love it. There was something else I was going to say, but you know what? I've forgotten. Yeah, 100 episodes. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like on this video. Make sure you leave a comment. I will be asking for your thoughts. I will share a link about how you can share some voice messages, and they will be played out on the show as well. So let's just get everyone on. Let's do it. So question times. So I've kind of already answered some of these questions throughout the podcast already. But we'll go through them one by one just to reconfirm those points. So first question that came in was from David, who's a member of DCUK. He says, in what month will the line? Well, of course it will take time for all the new players to gel, no longer be acceptable to fans. He's going long and saying May. If they haven't gelled after 5 matches, it's going to be difficult. So that's what, April. So close to May, but I think after 5 matches, if we're still saying it takes time to gel, then something's not quite right there. And something's not happened like it should have done. So, yeah. So for me, 5 games into the season, if it still hasn't gelled, something's seriously wrong. So I hope that answers your question, David. I know it's quite short and sweet on that one. Victor, over on Instagram, one of his questions he asked was, if you could bring any US men's national team player to DC United, who would it be? So there's been a few players who I would love to see at the club. One of them was Alan Sonora. I even messaged our director of scouting, say, we need this guy, because I think he would be a great fit for the team. Hard worker, great midfielder. I would love to see him. So for me, Alan Sonora, if we're just being ridiculous and saying anyone, Pulisic, Flar and Belligan. Mainly because he used to play for the Borough. He was on loan from Arsenal at the time, but I think he would be great as a striker. Yeah, I think those would be my 2 picks. But yeah, Alan Sonora as a realistic option, I thought he would have been good for us. And he's young as well, so he would be good signing for a few years at the very least. I'd be interested to see who you would want to bring in from the US men's national team as well, Victor. So do let me know who yours would be. Then he goes on to ask as well, best and worst kit reveals for the season. So as we've just had the mini kit review earlier, so for me the best one will be DC United's, but I also like Chicago Fires and Charlotte FC's. I think those 2 kits have been really good. The worst one was Red Bulls and unfortunately Philly Unions as well. I like the attempt that Philly Union had done with it, especially with the different logo as well. But the fact that like Mulder Cheese and the Simpsons intro, yeah. And Stu mentioned the New Jersey pink cows producing cheese. It's about right. Yeah, I enjoyed that comment, Stu. Thank you. Then Hrithik Patel. Expectations for the season. Obviously, I've just been mentioning those. So, expectation would be getting into the playoffs. Hopes would be making it at least past the first round of the playoffs. Hopes, wild hopes would be MLS Cup, obviously. You're always going to want to win the cup. Proposed changes to playoffs. I would like to keep it simple, or the KISS method, which is keep it simple, stupid. The one thing I do want to see come back though is the penalties, is the halfway line penalties. The All-Star, they were great. They were actual proper penalties rather than just having from 12 yards out and just blasting it. You've actually got to do a bit of skill with the halfway line. So bring those back. Don't care what else you do with the playoffs, really, as long as it's simple. And then last question was from Beyond Buzzard over on Instagram as well. Who's my player to watch out for this year? Click will be the main one. I think he will be the main playmaker. I think it'd be interesting to see how well he does, and how much time on the ball he gets as well, because he can hit it from range. Just be prepared to see some bangers going in. I think we've got in sort of the midfield and forward line, I think we're really well covered. The fact that we've got Knaus, Paulson, Click, Durkin, Nahar, Hopkins, TKD, Fletcher potentially, just quality and depth there. Obviously, we've got Taxi, we've got Benteke up top as well. Fletcher would play up top. I think we're quite well stacked there. I would like to see us potentially bring out one more striker. I think that would be really good to see. But otherwise, in the forward line, I think we're pretty well solid on there. Back line, I think it's not too bad. We could probably do with one or two more players, and just switch out the keeper, and just getting a real good quality keeper would be. I think that's the missing pieces. One or two extra mid defenders and a top quality goalkeeper. I think we're a bit late on the top quality goalkeeper though, so I don't expect anything on that side. But yeah, that's yeah. But the player to watch will be Click or Click. I really need to find out which way to pronounce that. So yeah, that would be my top player. Well, that kind of wraps things up really. Unless anyone else has got any last minute questions out there for me, we will wrap things up. Like I say, stay tuned for the 100th episode next week. Same time, next Thursday, 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. US time. Sorry, I had to think about that. I was thinking, where are we broadcasting to? It's just Major League Soccer in America. So we'll get that going. Keep an eye out for giveaway details, and keep an eye out for, if you want to share any messages before the show, feel free to do some written questions in again, or keep an eye out for the voice message link. You can leave voicemails. So that would be great. First full episode in the DCU cave. So thank you to the shirts hanging up on the back there. My handiwork did okay. They haven't fallen yet. So that's always a plus. Thank you to the radiator for not blowing up on me this time. Blowing the electrics. So let's wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. It's been a lengthy episode, but I hope you've all enjoyed it. And until next time, Vamos United.
Swallowing off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. Off record eyes. Still want the act, not the ghost. Whoa, whoa, whoa.